Hello, Swamp Dweller. I'm a huge fan of the channel and always listen to the stories while I work. I have always wanted to share my own story, but just either kept forgetting or just did not have the time. I have a couple of stories for you and everyone on the channel, including my own personal story. I will tell my personal story first, and then the rest that has been told to me by my family another day. A little bit of background on my family and the house we live in. I was about maybe 7 or 8 when I used to live in Coachella with my family before I was placed into foster care. We had a one-story house at the end of a cul-de-sac. It was a big house as well. The moment you walk through the front door, you are greeted by the very spacious living room. A little to the right and far in the back of the living room was a kitchen, which was small, now that I remember. To the left of the front door was a little corridor leading down to the hallway. To the left of the corridor was a room that we called the back room. That was at the end of the hallway. That room was always empty, besides an old bed frame and a mattress, a couple of empty boxes, and some old furniture. Every time someone or I went into that room, it was always ice cold. It always gave me the creeps, and I always kept my distance from the back room. My grandma always said that the AC did not actually work in that room or something to that extent. Next to the very right of the back room was the garage door. Then to the very right of that corridor was a long hallway with the 3 rooms on the left that we all slept in. My brother Gregory, who was 2 years younger than me, and my baby brother Julian, who was still sleeping in a crib. But we had gotten him a little bed to sleep on once he was old enough. That was on the right side of the room up against the wall, and just to the left was the big bed me, my brother, and sister Selena, who was a year younger than me, shared. Then literally right next to my room was my cousin's room. The moment you investigate her room, you immediately see her bed to the right and her dresser to the left. These descriptions of the rooms are necessary to better illustrate the story. Then, all the way at the end of the hallway, right across from my grandma's room, was my Aunt Leslie's room. Finally, in the very middle of the hallway rift, across from mine and my cousin's room, was the bathroom, which we always had the door open to and the light on, because that was our only source of light during the night, as we didn't have any ceiling lights or anything like that in the hallway. I did not know at first until the night of my experience, but our house was supposedly haunted. The very cliché type of haunted house. A father, mother, and a daughter. Apparently, they had died in a fire a long time ago. Something out of a movie, which is why I did not really believe it at first. There were a total of 10 people living in that house. I will not name them all because only 4 of us were in the house the night of my experience. On that night, everyone had gone out except my Aunt Leslie, cousin Brittany, and my sister Selena and myself. We were in my aunt's room having a movie night. Sometime during the night, my cousin Brittany wanted some food, so she asked if her mom could go get her some food. As she was getting up to head to the kitchen, she asked me if I could go with her, because she was also afraid of being alone in the house, especially at night. So I agreed, and I do not know why, but I just always must be in front of someone when we are walking down the hallway. I just always feel like someone or something is right behind me, and it always makes me feel extremely uncomfortable. So I asked my aunt if I could go in front of her, but she was already out the door before I could get in front of her. Another small detail about the hallway is that it was exceedingly small and narrow, so it was hard to pass someone who was in front of you. So knowing this, I was not able to pass my aunt in front of me, but she kept reassuring me that I will be fine. So, for once, I did not feel scared about it, and just decided to be a big boy and stay behind my aunt all the way down the kitchen. So, while we were walking down the hallway, both my room and my cousin's room's doors were both wide open with the lights off. Even though I was being brave, I could not bring myself to investigate either room. We make it to the kitchen, and my aunt decides to make a cup of noodles for my cousin. After about 5 minutes of preparing the noodles, we start to head back. Me, still being brave, I was behind my aunt once again on the way back to her room. As we were approaching my room on the left, I get this sudden urge to just investigate the room. That was a mistake. The moment I investigate the room, I see a very dark shape of what looked like to be a man standing with his back to us, looking out my bedroom window into the side of our backyard. I immediately ran past my aunt screaming and crying. I know, I'm a huge baby. As I'm running past her, I knock the cup of noodles out of her hands and it spills all over the floor, also burning her in the process. Man, did I want to get away from that room as fast as possible. My aunt then immediately chases me, because, well, of course she was very frightened as well, even though she did not see a single thing. When we got back into her room, I am in tears and just losing my mind from what I saw. My sister and cousin, seeing me so frightened, were totally scared as well. My cousin Brittany even started crying. My aunt then asked what the heck happened, and I explained exactly what I saw. Of course, adults always say it was just our imagination or something. My aunt then goes back to clean up the mess that I had caused. She returns to the room after about an hour, and I am calm again. And my cousin is still hungry. She is calm as well after crying for a bit from being scared. So again, she asked her mom to get her some food, so my aunt asked if I would go with her again. And at first I said no, but my aunt then says that she will let me be in front of her, so after some time I finally agree to go again. All the way back to the kitchen I was terrified. I could not bring myself to investigate either room again, and we make it to the kitchen, where, after another 5 minutes, my aunt has another cup of noodles made, hot and ready for my cousin. On the way back to the room, of course I am in front, but I am still too scared to investigate my room again. Being a 7-year-old and dumb as I was, I decide to be brave and just take a peek. I saw nothing. There is no one there. It's like whatever it was in my imagination or something. So, as we continued walking, I decided to investigate my cousin's room. Yet again, another dumb mistake. There was that same, very dark shape of a man, but instead of him standing and looking out the window, he was just sitting on my cousin's bed, facing the TV, so I could only see the side of him. But I saw his whole body, his legs, his arms. It was like looking at a real person. He was just completely black. He just had his hands on his lap, doing nothing, staring off into oblivion. I bolted back to the room, this time screaming and crying even harder than before. It's also funny because my aunt drops the noodles again after chasing me, from getting so scared. Once we get to the room, my cousin and sister are now overly concerned and start freaking out just as much as me. It took my aunt about 20 minutes to calm us all down and for her to ask me what actually happened. I told her exactly what I saw, and this time she believed me. She was now too scared to go into the hallway by herself, so she asked if my sister would go with her to clean up the noodles on the floor. That was my personal experience in that house. I was not the only one who says they saw something weird in the house either. My mother had also seen this guy one night as she got up late in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. My baby brother was still sleeping in his crib, so his bed to the left of us was still not used. When my mom got up to use the bathroom, she says she saw the black shape of a man just laying on it. She rubbed her eyes to get a better look, but he was gone. My mom also said she heard a little girl. It is funny because while I lived with my sister and 2 brothers, she was never up past what we were, and she was always sleeping. It's just a weird set of events that I don't know if I'll ever really be able to explain. Thanks for listening to these creepy and allegedly true unexplainable horror stories sent in by viewers just like you. If you have a story that you'd like to share in a future episode, be sure to submit your story at swampdweller.net or the email you can find in the description down below. I'd love to share your story with everyone here in the swamp. It's stories like yours that help keep this show going on a daily basis. If you enjoyed these stories, please be sure to hit that like button as it helps me out a ton in the YouTube algorithm. If you're listening on iTunes or another podcast platform, give this a 5-star rating as it helps me out a ton over there. If you're new to the swamp, why not join us and help us expand our ever-growing waters? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notification to never miss a new video, as I upload them almost every single day, and all things natural and supernatural. If you guys would like to support the channel outside of hitting that like button and subscribing, maybe check out the merch store. I've got t-shirts, face masks, sweaters, and so much more. If you're on the go and don't have YouTube Premium, but still want to listen to your favorite Swamp Dweller scary stories everywhere you go, you can download them absolutely free from iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, and just about everywhere else you find your favorite podcast online. And like I said, it's absolutely free to do so, and always will be. Thank you guys so much for supporting the swamp the way you do. I couldn't do this on a daily basis without you guys. I'd love to know in the comments down below what story tonight was your favorite. And if you have a story that you'd like to share, definitely send it in at swampdweller.net. I'll see you guys soon with another creepy video.